Okay, all right. I'd like to call the Legislation Committee hearing to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Rhodey, Alderman Boyd, Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderman Muhammad,
Present.
Alderman Ryan,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
Chairwoman Ingracia.
Present.
By present, you have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are going to excuse the Alderman from the 17th and the 22nd today. Our last meeting was July 13th, 2020. All of you should have a copy of the minutes in your drive. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes in that meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Entertain a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
All right. Agenda item number 1 is Board Bill number 148. Alderman from the 7th, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board Bill 148 is a board bill to formally adopt the most recent updated version of the city's revised code. You can see by the bill summary, I guess the last time this board passed similar legislation was 1994. That doesn't mean the code hasn't been updated since then. It has been, but this is just sort of codifying that we are now officially switching to I guess a 2020 version of our code. Anyone who knows, I think you're all familiar, but our code is maintained on the Municode website. There's also an official copy down at the registrar's office. So if people need certified copies of code sections or ordinances, they can get those from the registrar. The revised code obviously contains all of the laws we pass, and it's sort of broken down by subject matter. Now, it does not include redevelopment bills and sort of specific laws that are, for one project or a SID or something like that. It's, laws that we need to go, it's the stuff we pass that needs to go into the code so the public can easily find it. And so we can easily find it. So that's what this is doing. I mean, the board bill does not actually contain a copy of the code. The code, I believe, and Nancy Walsh from the City Councilor's office is here if we have specific questions. She's been working on this. A copy of this updated code is already available at the registrar, and Municode will continue to periodically update this 2020 version.
Thank you so much, Alderman Coatar. Would you like to have Nancy Walsh present anything or just be available for questions?
Nancy, did I screw anything up? Do you have anything to add? Go ahead if you do.
No, I think everything you said was correct. I would just say the people at Municode are waiting for an adopting ordinance from the Board of Aldermen in order to, when they receive that, they will put the revised code in place of the code that we have right now on Municode. So they're awaiting that ordinance. And as Alderman Coatar said, there are copies right now in the City Registrar's office, and advance copies were sent to the mayor's office and the president of the Board of Aldermen and the comptroller's office in August, I believe, for last minute checks. But we believe everything is current now, and as new ordinances come in that are generally applicable, we will pass those along to Municode. They will update the website, and approximately once a year, they will print a supplement that goes into the code binder. One reason to do this revised code is so you don't have to look at the code and then keep going through all the supplements. But instead, we will have the fresh new books.
And Madam Chair, I would add, there is one amendment that I think I emailed to you and was put in the Google Drives for page 3, line 9. just adding, there's missing a section. There's just a word missing, basically, we need to add.
Okay, if it's okay with you, I'm just gonna go through the roll call sheet and see what questions folks might have. Off the bat, I've got a couple, and this seems just like a smart, good government type of thing to do. So this is obviously not any thing controversial. I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. I'm curious why we haven't done this since 1994, and if we need to put something in place that would allow for a more timely interaction to make sure that we're not lagging by literally the year after I graduated from high school, and I'm 45 now.
So,
That's a
of
question
course,
for you. Go ahead, sorry.
is that a question for me?
That's
Before
fine.
Nancy.
Okay. Of course, the Board of Aldermen could do that if you wanted to have a certain schedule. This is, this process costs money for the services because the people at Municode need to edit. There's, some back and forth, and you're cleaning out ordinances that have been repealed and making sure you've included the new ordinances. So it takes time and it costs money. And as I understand it, the practice has kind of been when the binders get full, you do a new revised code. And I think it's
Like
probably
actual paper binders?
right.
Oh, okay.
So because they have to replace the binders and all when they do this process. But also my assumption is, and I can't prove this because I haven't been at the city long enough, but I think we increasingly rely on the Muni Code. And so people actually use the paper copies less often. Of course, we will probably always have those to be able to make the certified copies, etc. The Muni Code search engine is very popular and more readily accessible. So I would imagine over time, we're going to rely on the books less, but that's my intuition.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just,
I guess just,
oh, sorry, Chairwoman.
is Nancy cutting out for anybody else, or is my internet connection bad?
I think it's you, Chairwoman.
Okay, Alderman Ryan, would you take over and start asking questions?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walsh and Alderman Coatar. So just to kind of tag along on Chairwoman Ingracia's question, in your estimation, because even if you've only done this once, now you've done it one more time than I have, certainly. Do you think it would be less work and less expense if we did this process more frequently?
Well, you're going to have to pay a contract rate for the process. And I don't think that changes really based on how often you do that. I wasn't part of negotiating the contract. I'm familiar with the contract. But for instance, if we're paying $55,000 now for that process, I don't think you're going to save money by doing it more often.
Totally understood. And then I noticed that in '94, when the last time we did this, it appears to me at least that last bill was vetoed and then overridden by the Board of Aldermen. Do you have any concept as to that or why? I mean, I
have no idea. I'm sorry.
I have no idea.
I don't know why it would be controversial.
Okay, yeah, when I was reading the board bill, it didn't seem like there was anything even the least bit controversial here. But down on the board bill, when we're looking at the summary, I think on page 5 there, and I may just be mistaken there. But yeah, looks good to me. Otherwise, I guess we'll make sure that we take up the amendment to it. But that's the only questions I have at the moment. I guess we can just go by seniority. Now, Alderman Vaccaro, any questions? Alderman Collins Muhammad, any questions?
I have no questions, Mr. Vice Chair. This is a standard board bill.
Thank you. And Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
All right. Well, then I can turn it back over to Chairwoman Ingracia if you are ready to take
Thank you,
back over.
Alderman. Can you all hear me now? I apologize.
We can
Okay.
hear you.
Awesome. I guess just a couple more questions. Where is the $55,000 coming from that's paying for the update?
It was appropriated previously, and I don't know if that was part of the city councilor's office budget. I know it had to be budgeted and appropriated, but I'd have to follow up with you to find out specifically the answer to that question.
Okay, so no need for additional money.
Correct.
Okay. And then, I mean, I as an alderman rely on the Muni Code from St. Louis and, you know, many other cities on a regular basis. I'm hoping this is not being seen as something that allows the city councilor's office, or quite frankly, even our attorney at the board. I'm just curious what your access is to platforms like Lexis or Westlaw to be able to do thorough legal research on subjects that pop up in the city.
Would you like me to speak to that first? Or
It
Mr.
looks
Golly?
like Coatar, yes, said.
Yeah, go ahead, Nancy. I'm not really familiar with what research tools you guys have at your disposal.
So we have our Lexis contract, which is not going to be affected by this. We have a more limited, and I don't know about Mr. Golly, but I know in the city councilor's office, we have a more limited Westlaw contract. So we can sort of find things there, but not be able to print them out. And then we have to go back over to Lexis and print them out. So none of that's going to be affected by this.
Okay, how many licenses do we have for Lexis? Do you know if all city councilors have access to Lexis?
I don't know for a fact, but I'm almost certain they do. And I imagine it's a bulk rate for the city councilor's office, but I can follow up with you with answers to that.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Thank you. Same with Westlaw. It's my understanding that our board attorney has access to neither. So
Okay.
that's of concern to me. I don't have any other questions. Alderman from the 7th, I think this is obviously a really important piece of what we all do all day. And so if there's a way that we can work together between now and getting this to the floor for perfection to, you know, determine whether or not there's a way to even make it better in terms of a more regular look at these issues. You know, we can't operate functionally well as a city without access to being able to look at our own laws that we have in the books. You and I have been working together on something recently where we found something that wasn't in Muni Code that needed to be. So I'll let you close and then I'm happy to take a vote on Board Bill 148.
Great,
Oh,
thank you,
wait,
Madam Chair. I would remind, we do have that
Amendment,
simple
please.
amendment.
Go, yeah, please, I apologize. Thank you. Please feel free to,
Since I haven't been allowed and you've jumped all over me, I'm actually going to sign out. You get me on every single one, so I will sign out and not vote.
Alderman,
I don't-
that's not true. Alderman, right? Okay, go ahead, Alderman Coatar.
Okay. I believe Alderman Ryan called on the Alderman from the 23rd at some point.
He did.
So there's a simple amendment in your drives if someone would be willing to offer it. You know, I'm just belt and suspendering this. I don't even know this would require amendment or just be a typo, but there's a word missing on page 3, line 9. It says section and then it's blank. There should be a section reference there. So the amendment would simply add page 3, line 9, it should say section 1.01.030. Full stop.
Yeah, I move that we adopt Amendment 1 to Board Bill 148.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Ryan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Chairwoman Gracia.
Aye.
4 aye votes.
Okay, so what we have now before us is Board Bill 148 as amended. To entertain a motion to pass Board Bill 148 as amended out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
So moved.
To entertain a second.
Second. Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Ryan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Chairwoman Gracia.
Aye.
4 aye votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have passed Board Bill 148 as amended out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely. Thanks for presenting to us. Yeah, I guess we will, this meeting, it's adjourned. Thanks for your time, everyone.